Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this week's market summary ending April 4th of 2025. We're going to do a weekly market summary for all things money, our YouTube channel here. So let's get right to things here. If we take a look and pull up the chart here, things aren't looking too pretty. We have a downward gap here big time to the downside, and this algorithm that we have for the Elliott wave, it doesn't really know if this drop is over with or not. We have gotten away quite a bit from this 10-day moving average, so if we are going to bounce here, I see this being a good time to kind of stall and head higher, maybe fill these two gaps coming up here. Maybe we'll get some good news. We've also had Vietnam that had some tariffs placed on them. They want to come to the negotiating table. So hopefully in the next few days, maybe we'll see quite a bit more in that regard of people wanting to negotiate. And this tariff tantrum that the market is going through won't seem so bad. But overall, let's just go through a few points here. The S&P 500 ended its week down 9.1%. These were all due to tariff impacts on the global economy and inflation. As of the close of Friday, 4/4/25, the Standard & Poor's, like I said, lost 9.1%. This was all due to the impact of the reciprocal tariffs that Donald Trump wanted to place on these other countries to kind of draw them, in my opinion, to basically the negotiating table and negotiate basically some fairness with our global trade partners. Our S&P 500 ended Friday's session. It closed at 5,074.08. This was after falling 5.8% in March. Its quarter one drop is now at 4.6%, and the index is down 13.7% since the start of the year. The imposed tariffs, the 10% blanket tariffs on all countries, that will take effect Saturday for April 5th. And these additional duties and specific trading partners, they include China and also Japan. Tariffs on Canada and Mexico, the U.S. largest trading partners, had previously been announced. Chinese goods imported into the U.S. now will face a 54% tariff rate starting April 9th. And China has also announced that they are imposing an extra 34% tariff on U.S. goods starting on April 10th. So we'll see if that draws them to the point of the negotiating table and allows us to kind of work something out with them and maybe have some positive impact on the market. I do think we're a little oversold here to the downside, so look forward to a bounce, I would say early next week at some point. But this escalating trade war has raised concerns about a possible global recession. Beijing is also limiting exports of key rare earth metals and also placed 11 U.S. companies on an unreliable entity list. So we'll see where all this heads, but let's now get to the markets here. Let's go to the S&P, actually the SPY will go to. As you can kind of see that it has broken through the 200-day moving average here to the downside. We've had some major moves straight down here, and I think a lot of people just didn't want to be to the anything into the market to the weekend. So as we go through Monday, we'll see if this selling pressure to the downside has let up at all. But right now we're in a wave 3 to the downside, and potentially you'll see some sort of a bounce up here, maybe to the 10-day moving average, possibly the 30-day moving average, before we even see maybe a wave 5 to the downside here. But right now, kind of keep in the back of your mind that things are going to potentially increase here as far as hopefully buying back into the market, and then we will maybe in the next few weeks see another leg down if that is to be. Hopefully this is it, but right now the Fed is taking on some extra liquidity, and that's coming back into the market. So usually when that happens, then we actually kind of, we'll see maybe some upside here. So fingers crossed everything works out. If we go on to the DIA, we can pull up the Dow Jones. We have a similar pattern here. We basically have some big gaps here to fill. We are way away from this 10-day moving average. Oscillator here is sensing some more selling, but early next week, if we can kind of see this creep back up here, I see this being a positive to the upside for the markets. If we look at the VIX, maybe that will show us now a little bit of flush out to the upside. Looks like we've basically made it all the way up to 45, so that may have flushed out all the weak hands here. And this looks like this tap box here has severely been broken a lot sooner than what we had planned on, but we were expecting some fear and selling to come into the market, and so hopefully maybe this is it, and we can get something as far as traction to the upside back. If we go to the bond market here, this is actually showing the price of the market, and basically there's an inverse correlation with price and rates. So as you see the price go up here, the rates are actually coming down. So this should be actually a positive sign for the market, potentially maybe gaining some more upside traction. This is also kind of showing that it could be just a sell-off into the stock market, and now people are buying and putting their money in more safe haven funds, but that is yet to be seen. But keep those kind of in the back of your mind as well. If we move on to the QQQ, we can see that the chart looks very similar to the other ones, with a few gaps to the downside that need to probably get filled here in the distant future. We see that the oscillator here is leaning more towards negative, but if we can kind of get a bump or two up, we could see this going up and probably touching this 10-day moving average. If we break through that and test the 30 and break above the 50, we're probably going to go a lot higher. Whether that happens in the next few weeks or months, it's hard to say. But I see if we can get some basically positive news, any way, shape, or form. I think a lot of this downside move is basically the tariffs that are being potentially imposed on electronics and all that, that people are thinking that, are going to increase prices, aren't going to be as, purchased as heavily just because of the increased cost. I think once people find out that these tariffs are actually just made for negotiation and just to have everybody on a level playing field versus the country of America getting taken advantage of, I think we will see this actually boom higher. As to how fast that may happen, we will find out. But if we go on to the IWM, this is more interest rate sensitive, and we have not seen the IWM itself move anywhere to the upside. But on a positive note, we got this long candle doji down here. We have a couple gaps to the upside here that need to get filled. If we can break through this resistance level, I do think this area is going to get tested, along with probably the 10-day moving average. We may pause there for a little bit, and if we get some more positive news, we could probably see some upside. But just be very cautious right now. We will probably see more of a limited downside move in the coming week just because we're so oversold. So just kind of keep that in mind. If we move on to gold we will see has been taking off like a rocket ship here. we have a lot of movement to the upside, and then we had a few days of sell-off. That's healthy. I do see this going up to the $300 range and maybe even higher. So just keep that in the back of your mind, that it might be a good time to maybe add your gold position and ride that a little bit higher over the period of a few weeks. If we go to silver, silver basically had a falling out, and we have a lot of, if we can get above this 200-day moving average here, I think we're going to actually come back into a range up here and potentially even go into testing this high here. But this is a long term. If you can kind of picture right here between the 26 region and also up to about the 31, it's a big sideways movement. I do see this filling to the upside here, so adding to any silver position would probably be very beneficial as well. Right now, silver is getting affected by the tariff talk because silver is used in a lot of electronics, and whatever happened to the QQQ is kind of reflected in what's happening with silver. So it's kind of one of those functional metals that is very sensitive to kind of conditions that we're seeing currently. If we go on to the energy markets with natural gas, we can kind of see that we're currently in process of a wave 4 to the downside here. Whether this goes down and goes down to this 200-day moving average will be yet to be seen, but I think it could have a very good possibility of doing so. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind for the coming weeks. This wave to the downside here is not yet completed according to the algorithm, just because of the difference in color. If it forms a purple circle here, then this is deemed complete by the algorithm. So that's why I think there's probably more downside here. So kind of be in the just kind of the wings, waiting in the wings here for this one to possibly even go lower. If we go on to oil, oil has basically fallen out of bed here. It's over a long term sideways pattern here. If we kind of go back to, we kind of see it goes with 66 and it goes to about 86. It's a big sideways pattern. I do think we're at the bottom end of the range here, which we could see some potential upside. And just kind of keep that in mind that OPEC will probably be cutting maybe their forecast, maybe their inventories to kind of drive this price a little bit higher, because these prices being this low, it's hard for them to make a lot of money or any money. So just kind of keep that in mind. They're going to want to probably drive this higher. If we go on to Bitcoin and all the cryptos, they've kind of held their own, which is good, because if this was a big risk off, risk on type movement, you would see basically what crypto itself would fall to the downside or go to the upside. And right now, that due to even the sell-off in the market, that it's not following the sell-off, I do think that's a positive thing. Even Ethereum, if you go on to that, it does seem to be trickling lower, but it's not moving, I don't think, with great intensity. We may see about that $1,500 mark here to the downside in the near future as probably a low. If we can't hold there, or even can't hold where we're at, I don't know exactly how low this will go, because, right now, our support right here, you can see, is right around the $1,500 area. So push comes to shove, this is probably going to be a very good buying opportunity here if you get down in the $1,500 range. If we go to XRP, you can kind of see that this is also holding its own. It did break out of this triangle pattern, and now it's kind of coming back up, which usually you see to the middle of this triangle. So as long as it stays above this 200-day moving average, I do see this going a little bit higher as well. If we move on to Cardano, we want to see this region hold, because otherwise you could be seeing all the way down to about 30 some cents here in a matter of no time. But if we can hold here and progressively move up, I do think that is a positive. If we look onto the dollar quickly, the dollar's move over 2 days has kind of been negated. So this was an inside day here on Friday, and this we had 2 days worth of sell-off here. But if we can stay, I think the safe zone, for trading and all that type of thing, we don't want the dollar too weak. But if we can stay between 100 and about 104, I think that's very positive for the currency. So moving forward, if we see the market this coming week have a little bit of positive momentum to the upside, because it is very oversold, I think that's kind of what we want to be on the lookout for. Whether that happens first thing Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, it's yet to be seen. But just be aware that you may want to, if you have short positions, kind of keep them in your arsenal to be covered possibly, so you don't get your face ripped off if this should tear higher. So as always, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your support. And if you could just do us a favor and like and subscribe to our channel, we're trying to hit that 3,000 subscriber mark. If you know of anybody else that would be of value for this channel, please tell them about it. And we look forward to serving you all in the next few days with our daily market summaries as well. And we'll all see you next week.
As always, do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel, All Things Money, to see more content like this.